Tube. Oops. Hello. I don't know who's watching because I haven't got my chat up yet. Just keeps telling me I've got an error. Let's go back here a minute, close all that. There we go. Let's turn that down. There we go. Chat. Right. Let me get going then. Where's the chat gone? Really need a. So I'm going to be doing this wolf's pelt, hopefully finishing this off. So you can see that I've done the first base color, which was the dark grey, and then I've gone over with a lighter grey and just picked up bits here and there. Now I want to go over with white, well, in particular white scar, and this has been sat on my coffee warmer, and hopefully will be nicer to paint with. I'm just trying to thin it, well, not thin it, but just make it a bit. You can't have these labels rub off ever so easy. That's I have to rethink putting them in water. It certainly sounds a lot more right. So I'm going to select. I want one with a fairly good point. So I'm going to use this Calibri brush, which is a synthetic golden sable, and it's 0 size, so it's not the smallest one I've got. But I'm trying to stay away from using the really tiny stuff, the really tiny brushes. So I'm just literally going to come along here with just a few highlights in various areas. So I'm going to put a little bit across the bridge of the nose, and up here was where it would normally be. Maybe just a touch over the tops of the eyes there. Tips of the ears I'm going to try and get some there, and maybe just a patch a little bit sort of here, because wolves are a bit it's not symmetrical. So the other thing I need to do is the teeth. Now while I've got this colour out, we shall put the first coat down on the teeth. Just to get that on underway. Obviously the teeth wouldn't be bright white like this, but this is just like the base coat. We'll come over these another time with maybe a very light yellow or something, just to simulate, maybe even a bit of red on the tips. But then we've got to remember that this wolf is actually dead. It's he's wearing a pelt, so not having seen many pelts, I can't I have to look into it really. So yeah, we've got a bit of so let's just try and just pick out little bits of detail. I really need the wet palette for this, I think. Hi Richard. I take it your school's shut. There. Might need a little bit more. Take a bit of this out. And just drop a little bit on that. Let me just find drawing a little bit. Water that white down a bit, and then right, let's give that a try. No, it's not looking right. Come back to that. Just a tiny bit on the tips of the ears. And then we've got a little bit, so let's see the brushes too. Let's just brush that on randomly for now. I'm working on the fly here, so it may look a bit scraggly to begin with. So I've got quite a weak mixture of the water, and I'm literally just scraping the brush over the top really. You know, once this dries, some of this will be, some of this along here will be just like a white water. That once it evaporates, it will be less harsh. That's my plan anyway. There's no guarantee. I'm going along sideways with the edge of the brush because I don't want to be painting in, if I can help it, in the dark recesses in between the resin. I literally just want to be picking up just the tops, the highlights, and then the final step for this, when this is dried, I will probably give, if I'm happy with how it looks, I'll probably give the wolf a quick coat of Alclad gloss or something like that, you know, and then I will go over with like a buff spray, or just concentrate it in a little area around the shoulders, because I looked on the film and the wolf was it had a mixture blend of all sorts of colors in it, but there was definitely a predominance of brown, certainly around the shoulders, not so much down the back, if I remember correctly. It's a couple of weeks ago since I've seen it, but hi Dave, hi Rebecca, hi Gary. The only bit I'm not happy with at the moment is this nose area. It's gone on too thick there. Might dry a bit better if I can get some, just get a bit of water on there now, and hopefully I can weaken that down. I'll brush it towards the nose. It doesn't matter if the nose gets covered in it, because that's going to be painted over anyway. There we go. That's looking a bit better once it's. So all I've done there, because obviously the white on the nose was too thick. I'd put too much down and it just looked odd. So I've just loaded my brush with water, and then I've used that paint in effect to turn it into a wash. So because it hasn't quite dried yet, load that up as a wash and then bring it down the sides of the muzzle and on the front of the nose. Dry the water off the brush and then come back again, and it will remove some of the paint, will come away, and then it won't look so heavy when it dries, and it will look a bit softer. That's the plan anyway. I could be talking utter nonsense. So I'm quite happy with the whites on that now. I think that looks okay. So I'll just bring that in. So there's the nose that I wasn't happy with, and what I've done with it. I may have to go back over that. I won't know till it's completely dry. Come on. There we go. And then how do I get it to look? And there's the rest of the pelt. I'm quite happy with that. I mean, once it dries, there's a bit there you saw was probably a lot of water, where it looked like the paint had bridged two strands. If I can find it, it's hard doing it. I'm looking at the monitor. So is it? Oh, where was it? Oh, anyway, let me just. It's round about there, underneath. Yeah, I see it. You just need to put it. There we go. Right, so the other thing I want to do while that's drying, I mean, that won't take long to dry. In all fairness, it's probably more or less dry now. Is come along and do Mr. Crowe's hair. So, Mr. Crowe's hair. Where's the lid for this one? We'll leave that out for now, actually. When it comes to black, the colour black on most kits, whether they be aeroplanes or cars, sometimes I find the primer does just as good a job as any paint. And I love these primers when it comes to, you know, just using them for everyday colors. So like I've painted cars and I've used this, just the primer, and then, you know, I've gone over and deckled and everything, and it just looks fantastic. So I guess, you know, sometimes the primer is my paint. Not everyone will agree with that. And this bottle's lovely and warm, so we're going to see how well this works. So normally this comes out, and I'm going to have to squeeze a couple of drops out, but it's quite warm, and you can see already it just drips. That would flow out if I turned it upside down. So warming it up really does make a difference to the paint. Right, so again, I'm going to follow the same kind of thing. I deliberately painted pink over the first sort of, well, say 1/32 of an inch, or maybe even 2 mils. The first 2 mils in from the hair I painted with the facial colours, because I wanted, the plan was that if any gap would show through, you would see skin underneath. It would like a real haircut. And he's got quite an iconic sort of hairstyle in this. I don't know whether it's going to work as I envisaged it, but so again, it's just a case of trying to go and sideways on, and just pick out the tops of the hair. I've been looking at some stunning work on Facebook today. I can't pronounce the guy's name, but he does a lot. He's got a lot of commission work he does, and his folder's full of TV and film stars such as this, and the work that he puts into them is nothing short of spectacular. He puts like real hair, not real hair, but it looks like real hair. What he does is he files away all the resin hair that are on these models, and then he puts the real thing on, and they look, well, they're just phenomenal. I can't remember his name. I'll try and later on I'll search him out, and then I'll provide a link in the description. And hopefully everyone will see what I mean. Is where Gil does fantasy figures, this guy does like movie stars and stars of shows. Oh, that was a bit of a blotch there, put too much paint on me brush there, and I'm trying to give the simulation of hair at the ends. I don't know if you can tell at the ends there. I'm trying to make it sort of like a straight. It looks like a straight line, but when you're getting close, it's got that. Hi, Rob. It's got that jaggedy sort of line you get from haircuts. And just a couple of strands there. Oh dear, my brush has lost its point. See, let me just show you that. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it there. It's lost its point, which is an absolute nightmare to try and do this sort of thing with that now. So I've got to stop and try and see if I can regain that. So first things I do is just wash it and then drag it along this paper, give it a little twist. See how that is. Also got some kitchen towel here. Still got quite a bit of paint in it actually, which it shouldn't have. Let me just a bit more. Yeah, we can see it's still got that awful forked tongue on the end. That's horrible. So we bring in the heavy weaponry now. So this is brush cleaner and preserver. And we just want a bit of white. Just put a bit of clean water on there rather than. So basically just give it a clean gently. We don't want to destroy it. And I think if you reach a stage where you use this, if this doesn't work, then you may as well, in my opinion, your brush has had it. If you can't fix it with this stuff. Right, so there we go. And I think it's not far off. We've got an improvement. So, but I'm not happy with it no more, so I'm going to bring out one of my better brushes. I'm going to use the Artificia layer brush from Citadel. These are quite expensive actually. I think they're around £15–16 each. I only use this on non-fetish figures, resin figures. There's a lot of paid a lot of money for these, so I try to
Becca and Richard say hi.
yeah, I've said hello to them already.
Say hello to Dave and Gary.
Yeah.
And Rob.
Yeah.
And the dog. Oh, sorry. I just took the dog electric shock.
Really? How?
He touched my fingers with his nose and he got an electric shock. Yeah, well, yeah, it's gone now. No wrong with it. Didn't like that, did you?
You just come along. Now the hair does carry on past here, and it goes down into his beard. Now then, I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to deal with that, but my plan was to do some dry brushing in this area. Dry brushing and washes to bring that up, start layering on sort of thin washes, slightly lighter than the black of his hair, because normally beards and that tend to be a slightly different colour, don't they? At least I think they do. But we'll wait and see. So it's not, don't panic if it looks as though I'm giving him an uncomplimentary haircut. Oh dear.
I do like the wolf one.
The wolf. Yeah, I'm hoping the pelt is going to come out all right. It's not looking too bad actually. This resin's playing havoc with my brushes. I'm struggling to keep a point on it.
That's where you tip and then roll it.
Yeah, no, it's just the That's not too bad actually. Let's show you that. What everyone thinks of that. That looks okay. Yes, yes, it was expensive. These were, I think this one was 16. The medium one was, one was dearer than the other. I can't remember which way it is. Not all their brushes are that dear, but the Artificia range, I don't know why. They do paint nice, and quickly retain their point even without having to resort to all the cleaning. I mean that had just split into two like the other one. I've only had to go back in and roll it slightly through the paint, and I've got the point back. I'm not an expert on brushes. I just had a little bit of extra money, and I've always wanted a couple of nice brushes for my detail work. Well, I don't really want to extend that down anymore at this point. Bring that down a little bit. Excellent. So, what time are we at? No, I meant how long have I been recording? Now we've got his eyebrows there.
38 minutes, sorry.
I wonder if I could just... Let me just see if I can... Oh.
Somebody's ready for his tea.
No, that looks dreadful. That looks full on. That looks full on shit. That eyebrow. No. Yeah, I know, Dave. The Series 7 are a bit cheaper. And I did have this discussion with him in the shop. And I can't remember what his argument was about the Series 7. I know.
So much to do with these ones last longer as older than.
I don't know. I mean, like I say, I'm not an expert. I'd like to try the Series 7. Right, I'm not going to touch them eyebrows until I've had a chance to at least research it a little bit, because that just looked dreadful. But there we go. I think I'm going to leave that there now, because I didn't want to make these long, drawn out videos. They're just meant to be little bits as I progress further and do a little bit more on each. Although I could have done the nose actually. Yeah, I know. I just realised this is the perfect gloss.
We'll do that for next time.
Yeah, I'll do it next time. So there we go. That's Russell Crowe. So today we've done the white on the wolf pelt. We put too much down on the nose, but then we've been along with the edge of our brush and just took, placed it on the high spots, and then went over with some plain water in areas where it was too harsh, or the tonal variation was just a white and not a mix of grey and white, and just used the water to turn the white areas into more of a wash. We've left other areas left the white tips quite stark. Then a little bit on the tips of each ear, because I thought that's where the wolf would have some white, and on the nose. And we done the teeth as well, but we've got to come back over them with another layer. While that was drying, we then moved on to the hair. We've used a UMP gloss black. I think it's a good color for this. It's got a nice wet look to it, and if I remember rightly, it does have a wet look to it in the film. And we've gone all over, and at the back you can see where I've tried to simulate a haircut at the back there at the base. And then at the front, where I've left bits of skin showing through, I deliberately painted about 2 mils in of the hair, the skin color, so that any gaps that you could see from painting the hair would show up. It's not perfect at the moment. There's a wash got to go over yet, and I can see, looking at that on the monitor, we've got a couple of areas there, especially there, where it's not quite covered over properly, and that's mainly my fault, because normally while I'm brushing this, I would have this right up close to me, to my eyes, and I would be working literally, I don't know, 3 centimeters away from my eyes with this brush, and I would be doing it that way. But I'm hoping that you were able to see. So I've sort of working further away. I'm not used to working at this distance. And just looking at it on the monitor there, I've got a couple of areas I'm going to need to go back over. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that on camera, because you won't see anything, because either my head will be in the way, or I'll be off camera. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. There's 3 others at the moment in this series. It's all on this figure, and they're on my YouTube account, so you can go back and watch them if you want to, if you've not missed any of them. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, I was looking at the bottom of the pot there. It looks a bit mucky. Yeah, that's said and done. Thanks for watching, and see you later. Yeah, okay, I'm reading the chat. Bye. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe. Don't forget that. All important. Bye for now.